Nepo babies don't always love their parents. Just ask Miley Cyrus, Hailey Bieber, Angelina Jolie, or anybody else on today's list. But when Miley won her first Grammy Award, somebody notable was missing from the people she thanked. Her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus. In her acceptance speech, she thanked her team, her mom Tish, half-sister Brandy, her boyfriend, and ended with, "I don't think I forgot anyone, but I might have forgotten underwear. Bye!" Making it crystal clear the snub was intentional. Miley's mom Tish decided to split from Billy Ray after almost 30 years of marriage. Now Miley and Billy Ray are not on speaking terms ever since that all happened. Rumors about Miley's feud with her dad started in September of 2022 when she unfollowed him on Insta, a month after he announced his engagement to Australian singer Johanna Fire-Rose Hodges. He unfollowed Miley, by the way. A source close to Miley said that at the time, Miley is all about peace, but she didn't agree with some things that her father has done. It has really escalated and they are not on good terms. And since then, but they clearly see things very differently. When Billy Ray got married in what was described as the most perfect ethereal celebration of love that we could have ever imagined, Miley and her sister Brandy were not in attendance, but Noah was there, hinting that the Cyrus siblings had picked sides in the divorce. Now, it was a different story altogether when Miley's mom married Prison Break star Dominic Purcell. Miley was her mom's maid of honor and gushed, "Dom and my mom share the sweetest, most genuine love. It's almost like it's for the first time, which is so fitting for my mom who is such a young soul." Now that Stephen Baldwin is the father-in-law of one of the most beloved pop stars of the last decade, there are a lot of people who are interested in his family. With that in mind, it's too bad that Stephen once said something that was pretty disturbing about his daughters. "Jesus or no Jesus, if my daughter started working in an S club, I'd do some horrible things to her." Well, when hearing that quote, it seems really strange that anybody would say that. And also earlier this year, Stephen shared a video posted to Insta of Justin playing the guitar and singing, "I could sing of your love forever." Overlaid on the video were the words, "Christians, please, when you think of Justin and Hailey, take a moment to offer a little prayer for them to have wisdom, protection, and to draw close to the Lord." Unsurprisingly, Hailey was super angry about the whole thing. Lily Collins says it was painful that her musician father Phil was absent for much of her childhood. In her book, Unfiltered, the Golden Globe-nominated actress writes, "Many of my deepest insecurities stem from these issues with my dad." She also penned an open letter to the Genesis frontman. She also penned an open letter to, well, her dad, saying she forgives him for not always being there and not being the dad I expected. Phil left Lily's mother Jill when the actress was super hecking young, and in her book of essays, the star explains that her father may have still been alive, but most of the time it felt as if he were completely gone. She said, "I knew he loved me, but he wasn't physically around to tell me." She says there was a terrible disconnect that developed as they got older. Dennis Quaid argued during a recent television interview that rather than politics, it was the weaponization of the justice system and his policy record that ultimately convinced him to vote for former President. Whereas if you look at son Jack Quaid, back in 2020, he tweeted out, "Hey, it's 11:24 p.m. on a Saturday, and I just thought this would be a good time to say F Donald." Following the death of her father, Days of Our Lives star John Aniston, Jennifer's tumultuous relationship with both of her showbiz parents came into the spotlight. While Jennifer's parents were famous in their own right, her success in Friends and other on-screen projects kind of eclipsed theirs, particularly her late mother. So the actress's mother, Nancy Dow, was in showbiz, working as a model, appearing in a number of small roles in film and TV. And the first blow to their relationship occurred when Jennifer was super young. She went to a birthday party, and when she came back, her mom said, "Your father's not going to be around here for a little while." She didn't say he was gone forever. She mentioned this in an interview with Rolling Stone. John Aniston had left his family to be with his Love of Life co-star Sherry Rooney. And while father and daughter would eventually spend time with each other, it's unclear if they ever truly patched up their relationship. However complex Jennifer's relationship with her dad was, though, it was way worse with her mother. Dow had to raise her daughter alone, which caused a number of issues between the pair. Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter in 2015, Jennifer said she was critical. "She was very critical of me because she was a model, she was gorgeous, stunning. I wasn't. She was also very unforgiving. She would hold grudges that I found just so petty." In 2018, Jennifer appeared in the Netflix film Dumplin', playing a critical mother to a daughter entering a beauty pageant. On a PR tour for the film, she candidly admitted that she simply had to reflect on her own mother's superficiality and scrutiny to draw inspiration for her character. Ouch. Nowadays, Robert Downey Jr. is one of the biggest names in Hollywood, and though he has since overcome his hard past, he carries these struggles with him. His addiction issues can actually be traced back to his complicated relationship with his father, Robert Downey Sr. Downey's father was also addicted to a lot of pills, and introduced them to Downey at a very young age. Downey Sr. revealed that when his son was stupidly young, he gave Downey Jr. his first taste of something illicit. And suddenly I knew I had made a terrible mistake. Stupid mistake, giving Jr. a toke of grass just to be funny. Downey Jr. opened up to people about the complicated relationship he'd had with his dad growing up. He's like, there was always a lot of bad stuff around. When my dad and I would do stuff together, it was like him trying to express his love for me, and the only way he knew how. Wasn't good. Whitney Houston and her mother had quite the complicated relationship. Sissy was honest and blunt, and while this was something Whitney kinda respected about her, since she always knew her mom would tell the truth, Sissy has since admitted that she was probably too hard on Whitney. It seemed like there were things Whitney didn't want to tell her, because she knew Sissy would be upset and was afraid of what would happen. No doubt it did affect her, because she often wasn't strict with her own daughter. They were often more like friends, and Whitney must have wanted that after her relationship with her mom. Whitney never really spoke publicly about the alleged harm she suffered growing up, but she did say that she was too scared to tell her mom. She did drop clues about it though. Asked in a press interview once about what makes her angry, Houston responded with sudden, palpable rage, saying that the harming of young folks made her angry. She hates to see it. It bothers her that those who are helpless, who depend on adults for security and love, it just bothers her. Whitney also made a very big point to bring her daughter, Bobby Christina, on all of her international tours. She never wanted to leave her daughter alone. For many years, Angelina Jolie was known to have a very rocky relationship with her father, Oscar-winning actor Jon Voight. The pair had many disagreements in the past, which led them at one point to have zero contact for many years. Angelina has talked about her parents' divorce as one of the reasons why she had a difficult relationship with her dad. Jolie's marriage with her second husband ended in 2003, and that's around the same time that her relationship with her dad got real sour. Voight said some really hurtful things about his daughter, while Jolie preferred to keep, the problems out of the spotlight. However, she said, after all these years, I have determined that it is not healthy for me to be around my father. At one time, things were so tense between Eric and Julia Roberts that Julia tried to take his daughter, famed actress Emma Roberts, away from him. In 1991, Eric and his living girlfriend at the time, Kelly Cunningham, welcomed Emma into the world. Shortly thereafter, they decided to go their separate ways, which resulted in a very ugly custody battle. Shockingly enough, instead of having her brothers back during the court battle, Julia paid for the lawyers who fought in court to take Emma away from Eric. In 2018, Eric spoke to Vanity Fair about his life, and during that interview, he was honest about his past illegal substance dependency issues. And while discussing all of this, he revealed that that was kind of why he was estranged from Julia. Now, while Eric often speaks highly of his daughter, Emma tends to stay more private about the relationship. She talks a lot about Julia though. Eric and Emma haven't been photographed together since she was really young. She doesn't talk about him in interviews, she doesn't post anything on him about social media, but she praises her mom. In October of 2022, she called her mom Bestie, Queen Cunningham, the best mama anyone could ask for. Michael Douglas has reflected on how his relationship with his father, Kirk Douglas, kind of changed over the course of their lives. There were different stages. It was not particularly good in the beginning. Probably it was just because of the amount of work he was doing. His career definitely went first before family. And Michael said, yeah, our relationship did get a little better as things got older, but not great.
Emma Roberts' co-stars said she acted like a spoiled Nepo baby on set when she refused to talk to extras and ordered other celebrities around. Now, one of the worst instances of this is what she did to her American Horror Story co-star, Angelica Ross. Angelica claimed that Emma could be a bully presence on set, once going as far as to misgender her in front of a director. Now, Angelica first spoke out about the alleged incident during an Instagram live. I'm standing in front of Emma talking to her like this, and she's in front of me, her back against the mirror. She goes, John, Angelica's being mean, she claimed, seemingly referring to the American Horror Story director John J. Gray. Angelica claimed that Gray then said, okay ladies, that's enough, let's get back to work. Now the actress continues saying that Emma then looks at me and she goes, don't you mean lady? Now Angelica said that she feared retaliation if she reported the alleged incident. Angelica admitted that she no longer spoke to Emma after the alleged on-set encounter. Then there's Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner comes from one of the most famous families in the world, and this has brought her a lot of opportunities. She made her debut at number 16 on Forbes magazine's 2015 list of top earning models, with an estimated annual income of $4 million. Now in 2017, Kendall was named the world's highest paid model by Forbes, which caused some controversy to say the least. Now after this, in an interview she did in 2018 went viral due to her working comments. She said she she was never one of those girls who would do like 30 shows a season or whatever those girls do. More power to them, but I had a million jobs, not only catwalks, but everything else. Now these comments made many people angry, including fellow models. Model Janita Lapina shared a screenshot of Kendall's quote with her take, saying, "We are all hardworking and worked hard to be where we are. Nothing was given to us," she wrote. Now Lapina also posted an Instagram story of herself during a shoot, writing, "I gotta work," with the hashtag I'm not Kardashian. Moving on to Jamie Lynn Spears. Jamie Lynn Spears didn't get her fame from her parents, but from her sister Britney Spears. In February 2002, at age 11, Jamie Lynn made her acting debut in the Paramount Pictures drama film Crossroads, which starred her sister, Britney Spears. Now following this, she got her own Nickelodeon show, which was ultimately cancelled after she got pregnant. Now in July 2021, Worthy Publishing announced her plans to release a memoir, releasing a statement saying, "Jamie Lynn's book has been in development for the past 12 months and will allow the world to hear her inspiring stories in her own words for the first time." Now her memoir, entitled Things I Should Have Said, Family, Fame, and Figuring It Out, was released on January 18th, 2022, but it appeared that Jamie Lynn used her sister Britney Spears' highly publicized struggles in conservatorship to promote her new book, which is just disgusting. Now Britney actually called her out for this. On Instagram, she made a post with the caption, "The two things that did bother me that my sister said was how my behavior was out of control. She was never around me much 15 years ago at that time, so why are you even talking about that unless she wants to sell a book at my expense?" Next up is Alyssa Milano. In a long-standing TV feud, Charmed co-stars Shannon Doherty and Alyssa Milano decidedly did not get along. "I think I cried every single night of season 2, Shannon once told Entertainment Tonight, adding that their competitiveness got the best of them. Now in an episode of Shannon's podcast, their third co-star, actress Holly Marie Combs, finally revealed what happened before Shannon left the show. "We were told by Alyssa it's her or Shannon, and Alyssa has threatened to sue us for a hostile workplace environment." Holly then went on to say that Alyssa had footage of what made her feel uncomfortable and that she wouldn't be afraid to use it. Now Shannon was then let go of the show, while Holly was seemingly coerced to continue despite not wanting to. "They forced me to go back to a show I wanted nothing to do with," she admitted. Now this wasn't the only issue though, as during a Twitter feud with Alyssa, another co-star, Rose McGowan, tweeted, "You threw a fit in front of the crew, yelling, 'They don't pay me enough to do this.' Appalling behavior on the daily. I cried every time we got renewed because he made that set toxic AF." Then there's Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland is the son of Donald Sutherland and Shirley Douglas, who were both successful Canadian actors. Now Kiefer is a successful actor now, but not all of his co-stars have love for him. In 2010, Freddie Prinze Jr. joined Kiefer's action series 24, and then he gave an interview about his time on the show a few years later, and he didn't have anything positive to say about the star. Freddie said that Kiefer was unprofessional and that he hated every moment of working with him. Now it turns out that Kiefer was more than a little unprofessional while filming their scenes together. As Freddie says, "That's not me talking trash, I'd say it to his face. I think everyone that's worked with him has said that. I just wanted to quit the business after that, so I just sort of stopped," Freddie continued in the interview. Yikes. Now imagine being so horrible on set that your co-star quit their profession. That is just so messed up. On to Lottie Moss. Lottie Moss is a model who, through her father, is the younger half-sister of model Kate Moss, and that's how she's garnered her fame. Now she had a modeling career as a teen and she now does OF, but it seems like she hasn't put two and two together in terms of people who don't have those advantages being resentful of those who do. Now amid the conversation about the Nepo baby backlash, Lottie took to Twitter not to defend herself or her fellow Nepo babies, but to attack regular people. She said, "I'm so sick of people blaming nepotism for why they aren't rich and famous or successful. Obviously, it's not fair that people who come from famous families are getting a leg up because of that, but guess what? Life isn't fair. If you put your mind to something, you can accomplish anything. So instead of being negative about other people's success, go and try to create your own." Now, according to The Insider, Kate finds it all highly embarrassing and would rather not be associated with her. Dakota Johnson was born to actors Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith and followed in her parents' footsteps. Now, her recent movie Madam Web came out and it was just horrible and was met with a lot of criticism. Now, Dakota openly criticized the film as well, but it seems like fellow actor Russell Crowe had a problem with her expressing how she felt, and he has called her out. He said, "You're telling me you signed up for a Marvel movie and some effing universe for cartoon characters, and you didn't get enough pathos," he said in a recent interview with GQ UK. "Not quite sure how I can make this better for you. It's a gigantic machine, and they make movies at a certain size." Now, Russell, who did declare that he didn't want to make any comments to what anybody else might have said or what their experience was, also pointed out that he has experience with superhero films, having starred in DC's Man of Steel and Marvel's Thor: Love and Thunder. He's also in Sony and Marvel's upcoming movie Kraven the Hunter, which is set in the same universe as Madam Web. If you're expecting this to be some kind of life-changing event, I just think you're here for the wrong reasons. Now, however, Russell did acknowledge that doing superhero movies can be challenging at times. You sometimes have to convince yourself a lot more than the internal mechanisms of your character. Now, I don't agree with him here, as Dakota wants to be a storyteller and be attached to her character, but it seems like she didn't have a lot to work with on Madam Web, and she was honest about that. I don't think she should be punished for that. And lastly is Ben Platt. Ben Platt began his acting career in musical theater as a child, as he is the son of Julie and Mark Platt. Now, his father is a film, television, and theater producer whose credits include Legally Blonde, Into the Woods, La La Land, and the musical Wicked. Now, Ben has been linked to the musical Dear Evan Hansen, where he played the lead role from 2015 to 2017. Then it was announced that a film version of Dear Evan Hansen would come out in 2021, and guess who was producing it? Ben's father, Mark. So of course, Ben once again took on the role of Evan Hansen, but once the trailer dropped, people called out Ben, who was 27 years old at the time, for playing a high schooler. Now, the movie tried to do CGI on him to make him look younger than he really was, but overall it was just really weird. People on the internet also said it was nepotism that got him the role. It could have been a perfect opportunity to give a new young actor a leading role that would change their lives, but Ben took it for himself, all because his father produced it. Now, Ben does not like discussing that he's a nepotism baby at all. A reporter asked the actor about being featured in New York Magazine's Nepo Baby issue. "I'm curious, what was your response to that, and what do you make of that whole discourse?" the reporter asked Ben. "We're gonna skip right over that if we can," he then responded. According to the Rolling Stone reporter, Ben's publicist then added, "If we could just focus on theater camp, that would be great, thank you." Yikes. Well, Nepo babies might think that they're all that because their family helped them become famous. But the truth is, some people hate them. So here's Nepo babies that no one wants to work with. Now, brands may want to work with Kendall Jenner, but her fellow models do not like working with her. Now, Kendall made her debut at number 16 on Forbes magazine's 2015 list of top earning models, with an estimated annual income of $4 million. Now, in 2017, Kendall was named the world's highest paid model by Forbes, which caused some controversy, to say the least. After this, an interview she did in 2018 went viral due to her working comments. She said she was never one of those girls who would do like 30 shows a season, but I had a million jobs, not only catwalks, but everything else. Now, these comments made many people angry, including fellow models. Now, Kendall only became famous because of her parents, and she has a lot of privilege when it comes to all of that. Model Peyton Knight made a post calling out Kendall, saying this kind of disrespect towards other models who have no name for themselves walking into the industry is disgusting. She wrote, "We don't get to choose which shows we do." She then told the Post that she felt triggered by her quote. She was discounting girls who aren't famous and aren't born into rich families, she says. "It's like their work is nothing, like it's not that hard to do." Now, I think Kendall's fellow models have a good reason to call her out for this, because she doesn't realize her privilege. Now, Lynn Spears didn't get her fame from her parents, but from her sister Britney Spears. In February 2002, at age 11, Jamie Lynn made her acting debut in the Paramount Pictures drama film Crossroads, which starred her sister, Britney. Now, following this, she got her own Nickelodeon show, which was ultimately cancelled after she got pregnant. Then in July 2021, she announced that she was releasing a memoir. This was met with backlash though, as Jamie Lynn used her sister Britney Spears' highly publicized struggles in conservatorship to promote her new book. A lot of people ended up calling her out about this because she stood by and even helped her parents when it came to Britney's suffering. Literally, all the internet hates her. Now, after Britney found out that Jamie Lynn did this, she called her out on Instagram. It's safe to say that the entire world is on the side of Britney and acknowledges what she went through is horrible. Nobody cares about Jamie Lynn, and I honestly think we should forget about her. Now, Kiefer Sutherland is the son of Donald Sutherland and Shirley Douglas, who were both successful Canadian actors. Now, Kiefer is a successful actor now, but not all of his co-stars have love for him. In 2010, Freddie Prinze Jr. joined Kiefer's action series 24, and when he gave an interview about his time on the show a few years later, he didn't have anything positive to say about the star. Freddie said that Kiefer was unprofessional and that he hated every moment of working with him. It turns out that Kiefer was more than a little unprofessional while filming their scenes together. Freddie says, "That's not me talking trash, I'd say it to his face. I think everyone that's worked with him has said that. I just wanted to quit the business after that, so I sort of just stopped," Freddie continued in the interview. Yikes, now imagine being so horrible on set your co-star literally quit their profession. Lily Rose Depp is an actress and model who's the daughter of Vanessa Paradis and Johnny Depp. At 16 years old, she landed her first campaign with Chanel, the same house her mother worked with. Wonder how she got that job. Then, a year before, she made her film debut alongside her father. Again, wonder how she got that role. Now, there have recently been a lot of conversations regarding Nepo babies, and in a November 2023 Elle profile, Lily Rose brushed off suggestions that her path had been cleared for her. "It just doesn't make any sense," she said. "The internet cares a lot more about who your family is than the people who are casting you in things. Maybe you get your foot in the door, but you still just have your foot in the door. There's a lot of work that comes after that." Yep, that's how nepotism works, Lily Rose. You are given advantages others are not, and getting your foot in the door is a part of that. Now, these comments rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and personally, I don't blame them. For those of you who don't know, Lottie Moss is a model who, through her father, is the younger half-sister of model Kate Moss, and that's how she garnered her fame. She had a modeling career as a teen, and she now does OF. But it seems like she hasn't put two and two together in terms of why people don't have those advantages, being resentful of those who do. Amid a lot of conversation about the Nepo baby backlash, Lottie took to Twitter not to defend herself or her fellow Nepo babies, but to attack regular people. She said, "I'm so sick of people blaming nepotism for why they aren't rich and famous or successful. Obviously, it's not fair people who come from famous families are getting a leg up because of that, but guess what? Life isn't fair. If you put your mind to something, you can accomplish anything. So instead of being negative about other people's success, go and try to create your own." But she didn't even create her own success. How hypocritical. Olivia Jade is a YouTuber and daughter of fashion designer Massimo Giannulli and actress Lori Loughlin. Now, while in high school, Olivia began a social media career on YouTube and Instagram, and she's an influencer, and online she likes to act like she's just a regular girl that her followers can relate to, but they can't. She grew up with so many opportunities, not to mention she and her family have a lot of money. Now, her net worth alone is $1 million. We are not the same as her, but she likes to pretend that we are. Then there's the college scandal. Yes, I have to bring this up. For those of you who don't know, the college scandal consisted of parents bribing athletic coaches to recruit students regardless of their athletic ability, and entrance exam administrators to falsify ACT and SAT answers. It was just straight up fraud. Lori and her husband paid $500,000 to get their two daughters into the University of Southern California as members of the college rowing team, despite neither of the girls ever rowing before. Now, they even staged photos, which were hilarious to me, by the way. Now, Olivia knew what she and her family were doing, and she actively participated in it, which is gross, but we're the same as her. In an interview with Flaunt magazine, Emma Roberts, whose dad is an actor, Eric Roberts, and her aunt is an actor, Julia Roberts, she said that when it comes to landing roles, she's had some difficulties because her family is so well known. Speaking about how nepotism has affected her directly, she said, "I've lost more jobs than I've gained from being in the business." She added, when asked if she thinks her last name helped her get through the door during the audition process. People have opinions, and sometimes they're not good opinions of people in your family. I've never gotten a job because of it. I know I definitely have lost a couple jobs because of it though. Now in June, Emma made an appearance on an episode of the iHeartMedia's Table for Two with Bruce Bozzi podcast, in which she spoke of a similar phenomenon that's affected her career. People only see your wins because they only see when you're on the poster of a movie. They don't see all the rejection along the way, she told Bozzi. She explained that she's often open about when she doesn't get a role she auditioned for because she believes people will otherwise think everything's been so great and linear and easy. Now earlier in the discussion, Emma said that while people often call out nepo babies for having a leg up in Hollywood, the other side is that you have to prove yourself more. Also, if people don't have a good experience, maybe with people in your family, then you'll never get a chance, she said. I always joke, why is no one calling out George Clooney for being a nepo baby? His aunt Rosemary Clooney was an icon. I feel like young girls get it harder with the nepo baby thing. Like, I don't really see people calling out sons of famous actors, not that they should be called out. Now, some people didn't like what she said, while others agreed with her. In the end though, I think we can all agree that nepo babies have advantages that others don't.
Nepotism isn't necessarily a bad thing, but did you know about the heritage of some of these celebrities? Singer and songwriter Elle King, whose real name is Tanner L. Schneider, opened up about her childhood and relationship with her dad in a podcast interview recently, despite allegedly previously having been warned by the actor to not talk about him in the press. In a clip of an interview led by Bunny XO on her Dumb Blonde podcast, which was shared to TikTok, King opened up about her relationship with her father after the host admitted Rob Schneider was one of her childhood crushes. Elle King claimed any summer she spent with her dad were on a movie set where she ended up lost in the shuffle, and she would get in a lot of trouble if she ever messed up a shot. She also claimed that her dad sent her to fat camp where she got in trouble one year because she sprained her ankle and didn't lose weight. And when she reflected on the experience, she's like, yeah, it was very toxic and very silly. Elle King said she spent 4 to 5 years without communicating with her dad at one stage of her life. However, after she released her first record, people started asking about him, and he made contact. The singer also took time to clarify that she disagrees with him on a lot of things, and she's told him to bleep off. It seems almost absurd that somebody with Whitney Houston's looks, because by the way, she was on the cover of 17 magazine as a fashion model before she had a record deal, and of course her talented voice, would need any nepotism connections because stardom just seemed inevitable. But it turns out that her mom is Cissy Houston, a gospel recording artist and Aretha Franklin's longtime backup singer. Oh, and her sister? Dionne Warwick. It was Mama Houston's training that gave Whitney the technique to wield her instrument so well. And then between the family connections, that's how she got her record deal. Jamie Lee Curtis has kind of made a point of leaning into her Hollywood pedigree, mentioning her famous parents pretty often in recent years. She's like, I know you look at me and think, well, nepo baby, that's why she's here, and I totally get it. She said this while accepting her SAG award last year. But the truth of the matter is, I'm 64 years old and this is just amazing. Jamie Lee Curtis was born in 1958 to Hollywood royalty, Tony Curtis and Janet Lee Curtis. So Tony Curtis, née Bernard Schwartz, was the son of Hungarian Jewish immigrants, and he went on to become a major film actor, starring in classics like Sweet Smell of Success and Some Like It Hot. Whereas Janet's maternal grandparents immigrated from Denmark, and she went on to become one of Hollywood's brightest starlets. She was in Bye Bye Birdie, The Manchurian Candidate, and Psycho. Jack Quaid doesn't shy away from being called a nepo baby. He's like, no matter what I do, people are gonna call attention to it. And he's like, I'm inclined to agree with the title. And he said this in an interview. He's like, I'm an immensely privileged person, was able to get representation pretty early on, and then that's more than half the battle. So he was asked on the Daily Beast's The Last Laugh podcast if he consciously tried to avoid romantic comedies to avoid comparisons to his mom, because, well, her credits include some of the greatest films in the genre, When Harry Met Sally, You've Got Mail, the iconic Meg Ryan. He's like, it was a little bit of a conscious decision to not do it as much. It's just gotta be right, because my mom is the undisputed queen of rom-coms. So I can't just get into that space. It's gotta be right. Domhnall Gleeson has weighed in on his thoughts around the Nepo baby discourse, because he is the son of Brendan Gleeson, and he says that while he can't apologize for who his father is, he has acknowledged that nepotism can be a factor in the success of some people in the industry. He was asked whether it was fair to say that the children of well-known actors have an easier path into the business, or whether this undermined their own work, and he's like, I think both things can be true. Like, it would be ridiculous to not be aware of and acknowledge the fact that his father is an actor, and it had an effect on how he saw himself in the industry, and the possibilities presented about whether it's a possible path. He said, and just having met people and stuff like that, that does provide a different sort of access. He's also made it a point of how being able to live at home and not worry about rent did have an impact on helping him make it in the business. He said, me being able to stick to the course because I didn't have to pay rent all the time or go and work somewhere to the extent that I wasn't able to do auditions or tapes, that had an impact. Francis Ford Coppola, the director responsible for some of cinema's most iconic movies, the Godfather trilogy, Apocalypse Now, he has a large family tree with most of his relatives involved in the biz in some way. There's his daughter, Sophia, a talented filmmaker in her own right. His sister, Talia Shire from the Godfather series. Her actor offspring, you've got Robert Schwartzman, his son Roman Coppola, a frequent Wes Anderson collaborator, and then nephew, Nicolas Cage. So Nicolas Cage was born Nicholas Kim Coppola and changed his name due to his associations with the film industry's probably most well-known family outside of the Barrymore family. The actor has gone on to have a very successful career, honing a very distinctive persona and appearing in a wide range of movies. You've got Wild at Heart, Face Off, and more recently a self-parody, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. But at the beginning of Nicolas Cage's career, he found it difficult for people to separate him from his famous family, despite the fact that most of his early acting roles were in his family's film. Rumblefish, The Cotton Club. His first role, however, was in Amy Heckerling's Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where a lot of his castmates kinda poked fun at it. When he was chatting with Playboy in an interview, Cage called his Nepo status a mixed blessing. He was like, I started acting when I was 17 and my fellow actors didn't accept me. They said I was there because of Francis Coppola. These actors know who they are. I felt I had to work twice as hard as the next guy to prove myself. The actor revealed that he felt the burden of being related to his famous family before detailing his experiences. He said that the actors would congregate outside his trailer and recite a version of Robert Duvall's line from Apocalypse Now, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. But they said, I love the smell of Nicholas in the morning. Ben Platt is the son of mega producer Mark Platt, who has been nominated for 3 Oscars and produced the 2021 movie adaptation of his son's star-making Broadway musical, Dear Evan Hansen. When asked about his Nepo baby status in an interview with Rolling Stone, Ben got defensive and tried to dodge it, and that went viral. He's like, we're gonna skip right over that if we can. And when the interviewer followed up, the publicist was like, yeah, if we could just focus on the movie we're talking about, that would be great. And it wasn't until all of that actually blew over that Ben was a little more willing to talk about his advantage in life. He was like, of course I acknowledge I'm an absolute Nepo baby through and through by definition. He said, my dad is a producer. I did grow up with an understanding of the business and an access to it. I will say that was the benefit, more so than it has been getting individual jobs as an adult. He also mentioned, I really think it helped me to give me the tools and foundation to build my career. Now that I have started to build it and really show what I can do, I do think it's become much more of a journey that I am sort of the leader of. I absolutely acknowledge the privilege and the access and the leg up that I have by being a Nepo baby. And I've really tried throughout my whole career to do good on that opportunity by working hard to meet the opportunity and make the most of it. And just to lead by example and treat people with respect and be somebody that people want to work with because of me, not just because of who my dad is. Grace Van Dien is the daughter of actor Casper Van Dien and great-granddaughter of Robert Mitchum. And she's another Nepo baby whose heritage isn't obvious. She's most commonly recognized as Chrissy the cheerleader on Netflix's season 4 of Stranger Things, which was a character that garnered a very passionate response from viewers that she called insane, and it left her beautifully surprised. As a child, Grace appeared on the Lifetime reality show I Married a Princess with her dad, and also with her now ex-stepmother, Catherine Oxenberg, the Dynasty alum who is descended from Serbian royalty. And while Grace believes that the priority for casting is about who fits the role authentically, she knows that having relatives in the industry can help. but at least for her, it's something she embraces. She has said in interviews, "I love my dad. I love that I have someone to guide me through this roller coaster of an industry. I beam with pride whenever I walk into a room and a producer or a casting director asks, 'Is Casper your father?' Now, does that single-handedly book her the job? No. And she says, 'I wouldn't want it to, but I find it so awesome.'" So nowadays, Grace is more an avid gamer. She has a huge Twitch following.
Nepo babies run Hollywood, but there are some who have been full-on rejected. Nepo baby, short for nepotism baby, is a term referring to celebs whose parents have succeeded in the same careers. The implication is that because their parents already had connections, the child was able to use those connections to build a successful career. First up, we have Dakota Johnson. Dakota is the daughter of Don Johnson, an actor and film producer, and Melanie Griffith, a famous actress. Although Dakota has had a successful acting career starring in films like 50 Shades of Grey and The Social Network, she has been involved in numerous controversies. But let's discuss her current one, Madame Web. Madame Web has been one of the worst rated movies of any Marvel associated movie, earning a whopping 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. The film's implosion comes after its star, Dakota Johnson, often appears notably disinterested and dismissive of the movie and the superhero genre in general during a promotional tour that some social media users described as unhinged. During an appearance on Magic FM earlier this week, Johnson revealed that she, quote, hadn't actually seen Madame Web. The actress added that she tends to sneak out the back door at her movie premieres and go have dinner. "I probably won't. I don't know when I'll see it," Johnson said of Madame Web. Meanwhile, in an MTV interview, the host noted that there was a scene in the movie in which Johnson's character dies for 3 minutes. After Johnson appeared confused, the host asked, "Do you remember that?" "She does? I haven't seen the movie," Dakota says, but you could be right. Next up, we have Olivia Jade, the daughter of Full House star Lori Loughlin. She posed for rowing photos and acted like she didn't know what was happening. One Reddit user fumed. If you don't know the whole rowing controversy, let me quickly explain. In 2018, Olivia's parents tried to get her into USC, University of Southern California, as crew athletes, despite Olivia never actually being a rower. The parents were arrested in March 2019 and were accused by federal prosecutors of paying $500,000 to ensure that both their daughters, including Olivia, would be accepted to USC. Next up, we have Kendall Jenner. Born into the Kardashian family, Kendall has always known fame, but she has been involved in an insane amount of controversies. Remember the Pepsi commercial which depicted her resolving a racial protest by handing a police officer a can of Pepsi? Yeah, that one was bad. The commercial was immediately branded tone deaf and offensive, with Pepsi pulling it the next day. Kendall's ad for her new tequila brand is also being met with backlash after many felt it was cultural appropriation. Since announcing that she was entering the tequila business in 2021, Kendall launched her 818 tequila with an advertisement promoting the product. In the 818 ad, Jenner can be seen riding a horse through an agave farm in Mexico, wearing braided pigtails before cheersing her liquor with native farmers. The Keeping Up with the Kardashian star is now facing criticism for the video, with many accusing her of appropriating Mexican culture. "No, Miss Kendall, we do not ride in horses all the time. No, we do not wear our hair in braids all the time. No, workers do not get to drink the tequila. Also, that's not the way you drink it. Workers do not work with that kind of clothes. And finally, your advertisement is so whitewashed / California vibes. Jalisco is not California, so don't try to make it that way," said one Twitter user on a thread that has been liked over 25,000 times. Next up, we have Jaden Smith, son of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. Jaden was a successful actor starring in The Karate Kid in 2010, but eventually took a long break from acting after performing in a horrible movie with his dad, a sci-fi movie called After Earth. Unfortunately, although it was highly anticipated, the film was a catastrophic flop. Not only did After Earth tank at the box office, but according to Reuters, the film earned 3 Golden Raspberry Award nominations in 2014 for the worst cinematic performances. Both Smith and his father, Will Smith, accepted awards of shame. Jaden won the Worst Actor Award, while Will accepted the Worst Supporting Actor Award. Together they took home the grand prize for Worst Screen Combination. In his memoir, Will Smith expressed his remorse regarding the film. After Earth was an abysmal box office and critical failure, he wrote, and what was worse was that Jaden took the hit. Fans and the press were absolutely vicious. Jaden had faithfully done everything that I'd instructed him to do, and I had coached him into the worst public mauling he'd ever experienced. Next we have Tom Hanks' son Chet Hanks. Although he's the son of one of the most recognizable actors in the world, that hasn't stopped him from doing the following: threatening Howard Stern with physical violence, dropping the N-word repeatedly on Instagram, getting his parents sued for a car accident he allegedly caused, and getting addicted to substances and going to rehab. According to Chet, that last one was the reason for all the other stuff, which he revealed in a series of Instagram videos after completing his stint in rehab. He is also known to use an offensive Jamaican accent. In pure Tom Hanks fashion, he approached his black sheep son with the same gregarious nature with which he's built his entire career. He told Entertainment Tonight, quote, "As a parent, you love your kids unconditionally. You support them every step of the way. You got to applaud the bravery and honesty when it actually comes out of your own house." The good news, as of this video, Chet has been on the straight and narrow. He is sober and following in his parents' footsteps, pursuing an acting and music career. Next we have Gigi Hadid, daughter of Real Housewives star Yolanda Hadid. Gigi made the headlines after drama between her and ex Zayn Malik from One Direction got publicly released a few years ago. 1 year after the former One Direction member welcomed daughter Kai with Gigi, he has been accused of harassing her mother, Yolanda. She cut herself off from all her friends every time they were together, the source said at the time. Gigi focused all her time and energy on Zayn, but it just got to be too much, the source says. 1 year later, Us Weekly broke the news in January 2020 that they were back on, and she gave birth to the first child that September. The twosome lived in Pennsylvania during Gigi's pregnancy amid the coronavirus pandemic, spending time with Yolanda and Gigi's siblings, Bella Hadid and Anwar Hadid. 2 months later, Zayn allegedly got physical with Yolanda during an incident on September 29, 2021. The details of the fight remained under wraps until a month later when TMZ published a report that claimed he, quote, struck the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum. Zayn defended himself through a lengthy Twitter statement. "As you all know, I am a private person, and I very much want to create a safe and private space for my daughter Kai to grow up in," he wrote at the time, implying that Gigi's mom Yolanda leaked the story. Next, let's discuss Rosie O'Donnell's daughter, Chelsea. Chelsea has thrown so much shade at her mom in the press that it would make even the most angelic moms angry. During an interview with the Daily Mail, Chelsea claimed Rosie smokes constantly, gorges on junk food, and is inattentive to her kids. Chelsea also claimed that she was, quote, pretty much raised by nannies. And that is not all. Chelsea said that she was heartbroken after being shipped off to 2 boarding schools, which resulted in 4 years of estrangement from her mother. After Chelsea finally returned to Rosie's home at 17 years old, they couldn't last a year living together before, according to Chelsea, Rosie kicked her out of the house. Rosie claimed that Chelsea went missing and even involved the police, but Chelsea told a different story. "Rosie had 2 of my bags packed with clothes. Literally 10 minutes after the police dropped me off at the house, I got in a car and I went to a friend's house." Yikes. This is a lot, I know, and at the heart of everything is Chelsea's alleged mental health issues. She hasn't denied struggling with depression and also anxiety, but she felt it was unfair that her mother made her issues public. As for Rosie O'Donnell's take on the entire ordeal, "My teenagers are a nightmare. They're horrible, she once quipped to a crowd. Next up, we have a Nepo baby who reportedly shoplifts. Rudy Giuliani's daughter, Caroline, was arrested for shoplifting about $100 worth of cosmetics from Sephora. For her crime, Caroline received the penalty of 1 day of community service. Not too bad, Caroline. Not too bad. Next up, we have Lily Rose Depp, Johnny Depp's daughter. Other than starring in the very controversial TV show last year, The Idol, with The Weeknd, she is known for her erratic behavior in public. A Reddit thread titled "Is Lily Rose Depp okay?" went viral recently, and some users share their opinions on the Nepo star. I heard her new girlfriend is a regular user, and people speculated Lily is now partaking in those activities more regularly too. As a result, I have absolutely no proof of that though, I'm just relaying what I've heard. Hope she's alright, one user says. Another commented on her physical appearance, saying, "Eating issues can be a lifelong struggle with relapses. I speculate that she might have fallen back into one of these relapses. Hopefully she has a network of support to help her get to a better place." Lastly, we have Timothee Chalamet. Timothee's mom is a famous Broadway actor. Timothee posed alongside Zendaya on the Dune 2 red carpet in South Korea earlier last week. He donned a gray leather jumpsuit and pouted at the cameras. Zendaya matched the actor and donned a pink jumpsuit, but put her spin on it by wearing it off the shoulder and belted at the waist.